Yeah, I go testing 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 check check check. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shannon Show. Today is Wednesday, June 11th. Do 1 2 1 2. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. Check 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 check. 1 2 1 2. All right, today's weather is you can't win. The world is moving and you got no. The world keeps moving. 81 degrees. It's 81 degrees. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, hello, Mom. Oh, okay. I see it work. Hello. Mm, mm, mm. You doing all right, Mom? Do, 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 do. Yeah, so I guess it must have worked or something. Your login must have worked. Uh-huh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it says it's 81 degrees here today. Mm-hmm. With a high 83, the low will be 57. Yeah. Powered by streamer. Yep. I got up early this morning. Got up around 4. Had to get up around 4 this morning. In the morning. I got to get up again in the morning around 4 again for the last time for tomorrow. Because I got to get up. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think the Pacers play tonight. I think so. Yeah, so the Thunder's at the Pacers. So the game is tonight at 8:30. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 8:30. Everybody keep talking about the game. Yep. So they tied is 1-1. So game so game 4 is at wow. Wait a minute. So the series is 1-1. Wait. So the game is tonight and the game is Friday, 8:30. Pacers. Okay, so everybody keep talking about it. Pacers and the OKC. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the OKC Oklahoma City originally used to be the team was the Seattle Supersonics. So the team moved from Seattle and moved to Oklahoma. So they became from the Sonics. They became OKC Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know everybody excited about it. The game. I know it was a gridlock. I think it was last week. A gridlock they were giving away. It was on the news. They were giving away Pacers stuff for free, which was a bad idea. It was a gridlock downtown. People leaving work trying to get out made it harder to get out because they had to deal with rush hour traffic, and plus they had to deal with the traffic from um, people trying to get that giveaway stuff, all the stuff they were giving away, shirts and stuff. So I think I saw it's been 25 years since it's been 25 years since the Pacers uh been back. I don't think they've been back since Reggie Miller. I think that's the first time they made it. They went to the championship. It was with Reggie Miller. Let's see, last time the Pacers went to conference finals. This was their 10th appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals since 1994. The Pacers also reached the conference finals in 2014 and 2013. They previously made the conference finals in 94, 95, 98, 99, 2000, and 2004. Hey, what's up, Jaden? How you doing now? Appreciate you coming in. How you doing? Oh, okay. Good deal. Everything going all right? Boom, 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 boom. The Chiefs. You're watching the Chiefs highlights. It seems like it's football talk every day now on especially YouTube. And boy, every day I see it's more Shador. It's like I never even heard of rookie mini camp rookie mini camp to the Cleveland Browns with Shador and Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn, who's playing for the Carolina Panthers, and LeJontay Wester for the Baltimore Ravens. No, that's all Max Charles watch. Yeah, from last season. So he's still trying to figure out how they lost. Nothing in the world that I won't do. I'll do. Yeah, I don't blame it because I still go back. I go back and look at old highlights of Deion Sanders all the time. I've been picking up looking at highlights of Ray Lewis and then Ed Reed. They both played for the Baltimore Ravens and they won. They won the Super Bowl together. Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Yeah, just going back and looking at the highlights. See, when I remember in the early 2000s, I remember hearing Ray Lewis' name, but I never heard of Ed Reed. But I kind of kept hearing about Ray Lewis. Yeah, I didn't realize how good he was. So I didn't really pay too much attention to football. I would look at it some, maybe glance over. I would watch it some. Like I remember looking at the Eagles, like in the early 2000s, when Donovan McNabb was the quarterback for the Eagles. I kind of looked at the Eagles some. Carolina Panthers, I might have looked at them too a little bit, but I do remember looking at Donovan McNabb. I think Terrell Owens was on there with him. That's when I remember that game they lost. They lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots, and that's when they came out the next season for the opening, whatever, saying balls are deflated, and all that kind of stuff, And saying how they had cameras out watching the cameras recording the other teams and all of that stuff came out. Yep. Well, yeah, it's fun. I think I think the way it used to be, I was into both back in, I remember, 80s and 90s. I was into football and basketball. I was more into it. But over time, I guess somewhere in the late '90s and early 2000s. I don't know. It just wasn't. I guess then it was more basketball because I was watching Shaq when he left. Orlando went to the Lakers. I was excited about that. And then I like when he got traded, went to the Miami Heat. You know, that kind of thing. But Shaq and Kobe was big in the 2000s, early 2000, 2001 too. That three peat that they had with Phil Jackson. Boom, 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 boom. And then Shaq won with Miami. You know, it was a big deal. But yeah, the Chiefs. I like when Joe Montana. I kind of remember hearing like I remember. I think in the late '90s or so, Joe Montana played for the Chiefs. Yeah, and like Emmitt Smith, he got traded from the. I couldn't believe, yeah, he got traded from the Dallas Cowboys, and he got traded to the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, Emmitt Smith. So it was life after the Cowboys, and like Dion, he left. He was gone from Dallas, and he went and played like a year or so with the Washington Commanders. Well, AK used to be the Redskins, but then they changed it to the Washington Commanders, and he played like a year or so with the Baltimore Ravens. So he played with Ray Lewis for a little bit, but he didn't win with them. So Dion won one championship with the 49ers and one with the Cowboys. So Dion played a couple of seasons. I think he played I think more between the Atlanta Falcons and the Cowboys the most as far as being with a team. And 1 year with the Niners, maybe like a year, a couple of years, whatever. But I think he spent more time with the Falcons and the Cowboys than any other team. Deion Sanders. But yeah, it's fun watching those highlights, just finding your favorite player. Because I go to NFL Throwback on YouTube, and I look up anybody like a player because I got caught up somehow. I don't know. I got on this run looking at Ray Lewis. I went back and looked at his highlight reel from when he was. I didn't know he was a Miami Hurricane. Like Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp was a Miami Hurricane. Then he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, because he won with the Buccaneers. Warren Sapp, and now he's one of the defensive lineman coaches, whatever. He's a coach over at Colorado with Deion Sanders. What a friend we have. Yeah, and it's on. Yep. All you gotta do is and it's on. But yeah, football. I think the tables have turned. As more football for me. I go back and just look at more of the older stuff. I haven't really looked. Oh, like what's his name? Tron. He was a wide receiver for. He was like a 6'5", 6'5", 6'6" wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. I went back and see Megatron or Tron. Yeah, looked at his highlights. He was really good. It's like I think it makes more sense to me when I go back and look at a player's highlight reels than when they were actually playing. And just I go back and catch up. Just I don't know. Maybe it's better. It's just more exciting. I just watching the highlight reels than than when they were actually playing. I guess in their heyday or whatever. It just depends on who it is. But like in the '80s, I did watch football. I watched the Broncos, but I also watched the New York Giants because I like Lawrence Taylor, Phil Simms, Hank Banks, all them guys for the Giants. I actually watched them. I even watched the New York Mets. I actually watched the baseball team because I love baseball. I think I watched baseball more like in the '80s and probably the '90s. But I remember the New York Mets because it had Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden. Dwight Gooden, he was the pitcher, and Darryl Strawberry was batter. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Max Charles? Yeah. I see. Yeah, he told me he's up in here. So watching highlights of the Chiefs highlight reels. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Hmm. I might go back and look at. I like to look for some footage highlights if they got highlights of Joe Montana with the Chiefs, with the KC Chiefs. Hmm. You know it, Chief Eagles, Chief Eagles, Eagles. That's funny. The Eagles. Mm-mm. Yeah, I say, like I said before, the other stream. I say Eagles going back. The Eagles going back to the championship. Oh, the championship. Oh, the championship. Oh, groove me, groove me, groove me, groove me, groove me. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, what's up, Damien? How you doing? I'm doing all right. Sitting here talking. Jaden said Max Charles are watching. He's looking at highlight reels of highlights of the Chiefs. Looking at the Chiefs old glory days, before the Eagles came through. I'm good. Sick. Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah, hear that. Hope you get to feeling better. He said you're feeling sick. Dun 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 dun. I know people been having allergies too, getting clogged up. Some people are working with, they got the sinuses, sinus drainage, the allergies, the pollen's really bothering them and stuff. Yep, the trees are blooming, the pollen is floating all in the air. 24 karat, 24 karat, 24 pollens in the air. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the worst is ever. See, I went to the doctor and I got the flu and messing with my allergies. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a bad combo. That's a double hit. The flu and your allergies. Wow. I know. Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine what that feel like at the same time. Ooh. Yeah. Hopefully, get the feeling better. But yeah, man, just I think the worst I've ever felt. Recall before I ever even started taking. I didn't start taking any kind of allergy medicine. I would take my mom like give me Benadryl, and Benadryl really works because I'm allergic to animals, and cats, and dogs. But the worst I remember ever feeling when it came to the allergies, it was 95. It was clear as day. It's like I don't know. It was really bad. The trees and stuff. Because I remember we went down before we went to Florida. I remember how bad it was. Yeah, it was bad. I remember it being bad in Florida. I remember that was like the first time I remember going down there, like in the springtime, seeing the trees bloom around 95. I was still in school. We went down there, and it was nice seeing how nice the trees were blooming, but the pollen and stuff was so bad. That was like around May, June 95. I remember. Yeah. Hmm. So that's why I stay away from people if I do go with a mask. I just started going back to college. My roommates were telling me, "Hey, you want to party?" Yeah, I still do mine. Yeah, I still do my mask thing. I know some people out there work. Everybody, it's just choice. But they take their shots or not, whatever they prefer. But I still, it's like I want to. I think about it, but then I say I'm gonna keep my mask because I come in contact with people, other people from work, like coming in from different companies or whatever. and I just still keep it because, especially like I know the allergy season, like people just getting sick in general. I still use hang on to it for protection and keep my mask. Mm-hmm. Yep. So hanging like a new mask. I keep my mask. The K95s. I used to have like the little surgical mask, but the blue mask. But I started getting that K95 mask, which is like I guess more recommended one. So I've been get that. I go to Amazon and get those masks off of there. Masks, but I still see some people I work with, or where I go, I see they wear still some people they still sticking to the mask. I tell you, man, ever since that pandemic, it just really messed up a lot of stuff. Cause everything was fine. Cause I remember uh, it was it was 2000, like early March 2020. Uh, yeah, it sure was. He said I told my friends to stay away from me because if I get you sick, it's not my fault. And they're saying this is in Kansas City. I said, okay, what are you talking about? What does Kansas City got to do with it? Yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, man, that pandemic stuff really just screwed up a whole lot of stuff and took a lot of businesses out. Like one of my favorite places I like to eat at, man. Hey, it did a lot of damage, man. You know, it threw work off because I remember it was 20 2020. It sure was. It was 2020. It was like March 2020. I remember going in. I remember going to Best Buy, and I knew something was wrong because I remember the lady, she was ringing me up, and I started kind of hearing something about a virus pandemic, COVID or whatever, and she was like, "They're gonna be closing or something." I was like, "What?" I was trying to figure out what was going on. And then next thing I know, because I was scheduled for work, I just finished working, and then I think the calls I was going to take or was going to do or whatever. And I saw some of the people who already took those calls. Next thing I know, work was getting calls were getting canceled left and right. Work calls. It said cancel, cancel, cancel. I'm trying to figure out what is going on because like work just got shut down. I couldn't believe it. So I went to some restaurant. Oh man, got an allergic to peanuts. People looking at me crazy back in the day. Yeah, yeah. Some people have allergies. I've seen that too on a lot of food restaurants. They like to put the stuff that what's in the food because people can be allergic. Like you said, like you're allergic to peanuts. That's a good thing to have in restaurants. Put it out there. They let you know what's in the food. I can't eat pecans or almonds, coconut. I'm allergic to it. And my folks, they can eat it all day, but I can't. I didn't get that feature. It got taken away from me. But I didn't think, I think I couldn't eat cashews or pistachios. I tried, or hazelnut stuff. I tried it, hazel chocolate, that spread or whatever. I tried pistachios and I went, because I don't think, and maybe I couldn't try to eat it. So I tried it a few years ago and I sure can. I can eat pistachios and I can eat that hazelnut stuff and cashews, which I some reason I felt like I couldn't because but I can eat those. Mm-hmm. And peanuts, but I can't eat the walnuts. I can't eat the macadamias, walnuts, pecans, and almonds and coconuts. Ugh. So like at work when we taking a break or whatever, they might have something laid out. And I don't know. It's like by default, I just try to eat a peanut butter cookie or whatever, a sugar cookie. They have to constantly put almonds in there, pecans all the time. It's like they just don't think they have regular stuff, and they just don't think nobody want a regular cookie. You know. Dun, 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 I told them I'm allergic to. I told them I'm allergic to peanuts, and they was like, okay. And then I was like, "Where's the manager?" I told you I'm allergic to peanuts. You're not. Wow. Yeah, I told them I'm allergic to peanuts, and it was like okay, and I was like, "Where's the manager? Where's the manager?" I told them I'm allergic to peanuts. Yeah, and you're not doing nothing about it. Really? They didn't do anything about it after you told them you was allergic, and they still didn't do anything. Man, mm-mm-mm-mm. Boom, 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 boom. Well, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Yeah, imagine that. I'll just leave and you know, I report it to headquarters or whatever, cause that's dealing with your life in jeopardy, putting you in jeopardy, because a slip up, something small, and especially if you give them a heads up, and they still didn't pay attention to that. Yeah, like like I talked about in streams before. A lot. It's like the customer service is a lot of just. I guess depends on where you go. Is slack. The only places I think had the best customer service is Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. And I've seen it ranked up there, like, I guess it's friendly. I think Chick-fil-A was number one. But I like Chick-fil-A and Starbucks. Those are the main places I stick to. And now with McDonald's, I go there here and there, but not like I did a couple of months ago because it just, I just started, I guess, getting into a different rhythm with just Starbucks and Chick-fil-A, because those you can see where they actually give they I don't know give their employees, their workers, the proper training. Maybe some McDonald's do it or don't. I don't. Maybe they do give them training. Maybe the workers just don't follow it or whatever. They don't stay up. Keep the standards up, whatever. But Starbucks and Chick-fil-A, I know are consistent. That's every day in, day out. I don't care what day it is or what time of day it is, and people coming in. They're consistent. They got like with Chick-fil-A, they always got the workers out there. I don't care how big it's 2 lanes and the lines are full, and they got the workers out there constantly keeping the lines moving like a well-oiled machine. And Starbucks, they keep it rolling too, and they always got service in the smile. I've never seen any of them with like attitudes or anything. And you could definitely see the difference between Starbucks and Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's, Hardee's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Now Subway is I never had no trouble really with Subway. Well, except that one, it wasn't no trouble. The food was just bad when I ordered it. Just I could tell. And Jimmy John's is really cool too. And that's why I want to move there. The KC, Kansas. Mm, UK. I want to move back to UK or another city. Kansas City makes me sick. Yeah, makes me sick. I even thought about it in Kansas. Yeah, I have to do that. Yeah, listen, Damien. I know things get bad, but man, just pray. But hopefully things will work out and get better for you. But not to the point. It's just not to the point where you want to go that far. I know things get bad, man, and stuff, but it usually things are working way out. Or I've been finding strategies too. Like where stuff is bad. Like people find. I talk to some people at work about peace. And I some there's a lot of broken people. I work with broken people who just you know need healing, but some just don't get it and don't get the proper attention they need or whatever. But I just ain't into that. Like you dealing with the stuff at the restaurant. I just go where I know where people want to, be more civil, who know how to, ain't trying to get all into this and that, I just, that's why I think I've been cutting McDonald's and Hardee's. I just let them go. It ain't worth it, just tired of putting up with the same stuff. Had enough. And saying that's why I don't want to move there, you know. But yeah, that's what I think I love about Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. They're just friendly. friendly service. It's probably because of the Super Bowl. Yeah, man. But and like back to what I was saying about the pandemic, I know after the pandemic when it came through, it's like the level of more sensitivity or increase or just even more crazy, like boosted like a million times, like went up 10 more levels, a million more levels with people. It's just, because I know people were trapped in, they couldn't get out like they wanted to. And then you have people who want to wear the mask versus not wearing the mask, and like the 6 foot rule in line. They used to have those in the store, and they had like the little footprints saying like have 6 foot in between each other. But a lot of that stuff just went away, you know, and people I know more anxious, trying to hurry, and more impatient than normal. Like, cause I remember I was at Steak and Shake, so like it was 2020 during the pandemic. I was in the line waiting, and there's this old guy in his car back here just honking behind me. I was like, I can't do but so much, but it's like everything just really, just really, really cranked up more. People way more impatient, and like the thing too I've seen was like I don't know if it was last year. So the guy went to Subway somewhere or wherever, and he got mad at the lady whoever fixed his sandwich. He got mad and I think pulled out a firearm on her or whatever because he got upset. And that's the thing, it's like the little smallest things with people now. It don't take much to set people off, the smallest little thing to trigger them, and they just go ballistic. It's like, man, and they don't care too. And Walmart's another place for that, that kind of energy, that all the time, it's like it was bad, but it's even more worse now. Because I just remember a couple of years ago when that pandemic kicked in, it just seemed like it was just more, it cranked up with people being more, wanting to fight more at Walmart. And the thing too is also it's like, you know, they just don't care, That's the mindset, I've seen. Some people are just there's still some there, but it seemed like it just so flooded down with so many people with that mindset, not caring about anything, Some just think the world revolve around them. I see it all the time, all the time. They think everybody. They think people supposed, there's some people think the world just supposed to revolve around them, thinking everybody's supposed to do what they want, And there's people with that attitude, they don't care about, anything, It's like they do what they want and no consequences, Those are the ones not to be around. But, But yeah, it's been bad. So it's like been 5 years now since the pandemic happened. Yeah, it's like, man, it's like it just seemed like I'd never seen nothing like it. I really was thrown off about it when that COVID stuff hit. Because it happened to me when I caught it. I caught it the first time I caught it. Man, it was bad. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and that was the thing too. I did everything. I had my mask. I wiped down everything. But there are other people, don't take it as serious as take it as a joke. I'm sure there's some who still probably may think it's there or not, but I don't. To me, honestly, I think it's somewhere still around, but I haven't really seen anything looked up about any cases, but I'm still in that mindset, because you never know after that happened, it's like, because I never wore a mask and stuff before, but after that, all that pandemic stuff kicked in, you know. hmm But yeah, the world just keeps changing and changing. But yeah, and my thing is like when that happened, that just flipped everything up. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was meant to be to happen. COVID. I don't know, but it really turned the world upside down. Because there was curfew, and when that pandemic hit, I remember the stuff that just people just went crazy. Like downtown, people were rioting and stuff. They were going down like robbing place stores and stuff. I'm telling you, I didn't see nothing like it. Like some kind of vow, just make people turn into zombies. Their mind just flip, cut off. The common sense, everything just shut off. They went to zombie mode. Just do whatever. It's like The Walking Dead. I don't know, but yeah, it was something else. hmm And like a friend I knew, his son was he was taken out. Cause it was bad like downtown because they had a curfew and there were people out there that shouldn't have been out there. It's like when you tell people no curfew, they still gonna do what they want. And of course it was just more chaos. And he lost his son because he was trying to think what it was. He was trying to stop two guys or something from robbing somebody or whatever. And his son was really well known. And next thing you know, he took him out. And it's like, that's the thing too. I was talking to somebody at work earlier today. I said, I really don't watch the news because it's too depressing. And my uncle back home said, he don't watch it too. I remember, because it's like I remember like the news saying like such and such team won or they such and such won the Super Bowl, and then next thing the news anchor goes right and says such somebody was taken out or robbed. It's like they go from good to bad, like hot to cold or cold to hot, the feeling. It's like I don't know how they do it. They can just bounce from one thing to another, You're trying to absorb, soak in something, one thing, they throw something else, at you. That's the way it is with the news, but yeah. But that was really sad about his son because he just took him out, And it's like, after you see this stuff like that happen, you see people's mug shots, you look at their faces, you just look at them, it's like on their face, they just don't care. They don't care who it affects. And I also see the attitudes like when people, do crime, whatever, it's like they got the mindset, they won't be caught or no accountability. I don't see no remorse on their face when you look at them, those mug shots, Like I used to watch I used to look at clips of court TV, and there's this one where I think the dad, his daughters were on the swim team, I think in high school, and their coach, I think the coach molested him or something. I think so, or whatever. He was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing, And so he finally got caught and they reported, he got arrested. So he was in court on trial and stuff. And, and the dad, I think he was busted though, but the dad was like, Judge, if you just give me like 5 minutes, I could just have 5 minutes alone with this guy in the room, But you could see the tension was building, and, because I think he didn't get off, but I think they were gonna put him away. But the dad, that was his daughter, and friends, and next thing I know, before he left out the court, he kind of see him pause, and then of course they had security there. He jumped on him and beat him up. Then they had to take him out. The judge saying, everybody tried to still, try to behave, but you can understand that it's always like that. You see that when like a person and their family lost somebody because of a criminal or whatever, you see them fighting in court, in the trial, which I can understand, they try, still have people be civil, but at the same time, these people are human. They lost somebody they love. It's kind of hard to try to make them try to behave when they just lost somebody, and the criminal, just sit there like, they just, no soul. They just don't care, it's like, but yeah, I've seen those court TV cases where they want to take the criminal down themselves, in the court, but yeah, it's just the world is just getting worse and worse, I guess that's what I'm getting at with everything, every day, it's something different. hmm when I was little, my grandma used to tell me. I couldn't figure out my life to understand. I kind of grasped a little bit what she was saying. I was in elementary school, and she was saying the Bible speaks of all this stuff. She told me the kids would turn on their parents and all of that. Because when she said that right there, my ears, I was just trying to register that kids turning on their parents and stuff. I mean, I was elementary, maybe I don't know, second, third grade, and grandma was just telling me this. I was, just trying to even grasp that. And so, as I started getting older, I don't know, my 20s or so, and started thinking back on what grandma was saying, I said, you know what? She was right. And she was, all the stuff she was saying to me, it was all in the Bible explaining, like understand like the seasons, the way you can tell the way the seasons change is by looking at the trees and stuff. She was, and so like she was telling me stuff, but some of the stuff I got. So as I got older, so now I go back and look at what she understand what she was saying. I get it now. It's all of it makes sense, and everything. But yeah, the world is crazy. you know. And I think there's I think what's scary is though, since my grandma, bringing about the Bible's revelations. I think it said in there somewhere, he talks about revelation more than anything else. You know, um, it's crazy too. Like I see there's a video site I go to, and they explaining stuff like in Revelation. I think that's all this stuff is going on now is not gonna compare. It's like it's mind blowing. It's not even gonna compare to Revelation. I mean, because apparently, we're in our last days anyway. You can tell we're in our last days. The way it's like it's just getting worse and worse. But the stuff that I think going on now is not. I think it's not even gonna compare to what's gonna go down in Revelation. But I think we head in that direction. Seemed like to me because like in the videos I was listening to, it was saying like with Revelation, which is real that's scary, and it's gonna happen. You know, like it was saying, the mountains are gonna overflow, whatever. The mountains gonna turn over or whatever, and end up in the ocean. That caught me right there. It's some really scary stuff, and like it says, the sun is gonna disappear. It's like, man, and like just the little stuff I was touching on, I didn't even get even nowhere halfway into it. Just the little stuff I was listening to, and checking it out. But it's like, can you imagine a world without a sun? But that's gonna happen. It's like, man, it's like, but it all explains. It makes sense. Like my grandma's stuff she was saying, it's all in there. It's like the Bible's the guide. It's explaining to you, because the Bible was made up from the different prophets. You see Mac, you see John in there, Mark, Paul. You see all the different from all the prophets. Who were with Jesus. In the Bible, and you know. But yeah, it's something else. Like I saw, like I like how the one. I guess the one kind of cool thing I like about the AI is how they use it in some demonstrating, animating some of the stuff from the Bible by using AI. Like it was doing a thing about the Revelation, and it was showing how the angel came down, like the seventh angel came down, I think, and the angel, it showed like the angel made an announcement saying there's no more time. It said not. It said in the video, not the end of the world, but no more time. That's just scary. And he make an announcement, and so angels when they come down, those are their messages. Those are straight from God Himself. Like Gabriel's a messenger. And like from that video, what I was seeing, Gabriel's a messenger. He doesn't show up all the time repeatedly. It's like strategic when he shows up. So and the guy was explaining like the last time Gabriel showed up was like to make the announcement about the birth of Jesus. So that was like thousands of years ago. So now he was saying the next time when Gabriel shows up, he said the message is going to have a lot of weight to it. I guess announcing, because Gabriel's gets messages direct from God. So he was saying like Gabriel's like on standby. He's on standby to give messages. So whatever this message is, which I'm sure is going to be the announcement, because I think Gabriel will be the angel to blow his horn, and like the whole world will hear it. And what gets me is the way the revelation go. It's going to be in steps. It's like it's going to go from cold to hot, like from small to big. The way it's going to go down. It's like the Bible's got a lot of stuff in there. Like of course the stuff of Revelation, but there's also some learning stuff in there too. Like I like stories with Samson. You know, uh, how strong Samson was. He could fight lions. He was able to fight lion with his bare hands. Or there's a story I brought up to somebody at work. I said there was an angel that came down and took out like 185,000 soldiers. Now that's one angel. That just shows you how powerful angels are. Angels are like stronger than any man. Even on the low end of angels, it's still stronger than man. Like there's a story where Isaiah wrestled an angel. Israel's his name. He wrestled an angel. His name was Jacob. Jacob and the angel, they wrestled. Yeah, it's a story, but the Bible's got a lot of stuff in there. Start from the beginning. Like God is the Omega and Alpha, the beginning and the end, that kind of thing. And it's just amazing, God, made humans, the angels, everything. It's like, and, Jesus was a carpenter, it's just amazing how God came up with all that stuff, designed people. Like the greatest architect of all time was God. How he came up with the trees, the animals. Like, who could do that? Only but one person can do that. The animals, the cows, dogs, birds, all of that stuff. Make them fly, bees, insects, everything. It's like, man. And he made the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh day. Can you imagine making all that? How many people, can do something like that in 6 days? Create a world in 6 days. Because it explains too in there, God, he measured out the cornerstones. I think he measured everything in cubits and stuff. But it's crazy. 6 days he built the world. 6 days. How many people? 6 days. It take how many months to a year to build a house? He built the world in 6 days. Yeah, that's unmatched. Let me see how long on the average it take to build a house. Imagine building the world in 6 days. He did. Let's see. Average time to build. So it said the average time to build a home in the United States is typically between 7 and 12 months. Between 7 and 12 months to build. Typically the time to build a home. God built the world in 6 days. 6 days. 6 days to build the world. What animals? Everything. Good. I couldn't even imagine his draft board. Well, yeah, 6 days to build the world, and on the 7th day he rests. Yep. But yeah, the world's cool. It's I think back then, the earlier days, like in the Bible, I think the world was a lot more cleaner, the air and stuff, because it wasn't no factories and stuff like that to cause pollution. Now, I guess that's why we have so many problems with the ozone, because of, all the pollution and stuff. The ozone. Yep. But still, there's a lot of still good things about this world. It's good and bad. Take the good with the bad. Take the bad with the good. Take the good with the bad. You take the good with the bad. Now you got the facts aligned. But yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, there's a lot of there's still a lot of fun, interesting things in this world. Like I like photography, video stuff. I'm always into it, So it's always still good stuff out there, But it seems like just so much, like the bad overshadows the good stuff. Hmm. 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 Free, free, freedom. Max Charles. But yeah, back to football. But I think I'm an Eagles fan more now because I remember it too. I was told that's right. My grandma, she grew up in Philadelphia, son too. So that's a connection to me being a Eagles fan. So I start rooting for the Eagles, you know. But there's some people which I can understand they fans like, and I get hounded because I don't root for the local team. I mean, just because I don't see it ain't no rule nowhere. Just because you live in a local town now, some people want to do it local team where they live. I can understand that, but there's no rule saying just because wherever you live, you got to root for the team there. I don't care about that rule, you know. So what, Mm-hmm. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Ain't but a few teams I like. Of course, I'll always be a Tar Heel, because that's the team I remember growing up. My folks they like too. We watched the Tar Heels at home. Mm-hmm. The Tar Heels. I think I actually started watching the Tar Heel games like in the mid to late '80s. I remember Kenny Smith playing some. I think I don't think I actually remember watching Michael play, but I think when I really started really tuning in. I was in elementary school, maybe third and fourth grade or so, somewhere in there. I remember seeing like J.R. Smith, Eric Montross, all them guys like mid to late '80s. I really started getting into it, really looking at Carolina UNC basketball, you know. And then of course there was Raggedy Duke, Duke with Coach K. Only players I ever liked from Duke was Grant Hill and Johnny Dawkins. Now Johnny Dawkins was really cool. He was there in the early '80s with Duke, and Grant Hill came along later on. I didn't like. Now I actually like Cherokee Parks. Bobby Hurley wasn't bad, but I didn't care for that Christian Laettner. Still to this day, I don't care. And everybody really hate on him because that shot he did over Kentucky to win the championship, and how Christian Laettner he got put onto the Dream Team. He didn't really do much on the USA Dream Team. They added a college player. You know, you know what I mean. But but yeah, Bobby Hurley wasn't bad. But it was something about Christian Laettner. I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. So it was Grant Hill and Thomas Hill. So Grant Hill they won 2 championships, 91 and 92. And that I guess that was a result from them getting blowed out back in 1990 by the UNLV Running Rebs, the Running Rebels with Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman. Let's see here. That game was back in 1990, UNLV. Yep, here it is. So 1990 NCAA Division I men's basketball championship game. The UNLV Running Rebels defeated Duke by a score of 103-73. This victory marked UNLV's first and only national championship in the sport. The game played in Denver saw the Rebels win by a significant margin, establishing a record for the largest victory margin in a championship game. UNLV's Anderson Hunt was named MVP of the Final Four for his performance. I think as a result of that blowout, that caused them to win those two championships. They were mad from that. So they went and came and got everybody. Coach K, 91 and 92. Yeah. And like I think when they won it, either the 91, I think 92 championship, Grant Hill was on the front cover of Sports Illustrated. You see him catching the alley hoop. Grant Hill, I thought it was really cool to see that, But Grant Hill, I thought was really good though. Even though he played for Duke, I kind of gave him a pass. So he's about the only one I did. And Cherokee Parks was all right. But, it's that rivalry because my uncle, I found out, was it like 93, 94? He was a Duke. He's a Duke fan. And from that day forth, we've been at it ever since. Find out he's a raggedy Duke fan, my Tar Heel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we up at my granddad's house. I remember that. We was up there trash talking too. My granddad was right there. We all three of us in the kitchen. And he was sitting there, just listening to us. He was sitting down at the table, might with his newspaper or a drink or something. We sitting in there just good trash talking, me and my uncle, And I remember him I remember Shaq. First time I heard Shaq's name was through my uncle, because Shaq was with LSU, where Angel Reese came from. I think Angel, speaking of Angel Reese and LSU, I think she played better as a player with LSU than she's doing now in the WNBA, Look at Caitlin Clark. She just still killing it from college to the pro level, Mm-hmm. And speaking of Angel Reese again, I see one YouTuber pointed out how I think it said that Angel Reese just got a a participation award. Says this is like her second or third year in a row getting an award. Angel Reese. Let's see here. Angel Reese. So she's gotten Angel Reese won the BET Sports Woman of the Year award for the third consecutive year at the 2025 BET Awards. Oh my gosh. That's might as well be a participation award. See that? I see the strategy. Like when somebody's kind of pointing out, they're trying to boost her up, make her look good, because they could probably tired of hearing Caitlin Clark's name, but Angel Reese does it to herself. She does it to herself. She's a big crybaby. She won't work on the game, and like she does a TikTok and all this, online her show. She got a podcast. So I like how they were saying like I guess she expect subscriber numbers are supposed to turn into attendance numbers. It don't work that way. And so I guess BET feel bad for her. So just go and give her an award and make her feel good, feel better. Cause I'm so sick. It's like elementary school. They have field day and they give out participation awards to the ones who participated. Participation awards for just hanging out, just being there. Versus the ones who actually went out and won and worked for it and won. Got the victory. That's what I did. I went out and won. Because I remember I was in fifth grade. My last year being in elementary school, I said straight out, I remember the shirt I wore was like the caricature shirt. My folks, they would go to Atlantic City. My mom, they always bring me back these shirts with the basketball players. They had like the big heads and the little bodies. And I remember wearing Michael Jordan. And I said, I'm coming home with all first places. And sure enough, I remember we got home out of school, got out. I went over to grandma's and I said, Grandma, I got all first places. I sure did. I got first place in everything I won, because I was going all out on everything. I won first place on everything, But yeah, I didn't get no participation awards. I went out and got it, But I can see participation awards just. It don't really have no meaning to it. You didn't really go out and win it. It's just there, just here, take it, just for being here. It's like, just signing your name on a list. Just SATs, get what 100, 200 points just for putting your name down. Just I don't know, but yeah, Angel Reese, she just I don't know, she ain't cutting it. Same stuff. Oh, every day. I think what I see in the YouTube feeds is either something about Angel Reese or and all these YouTubers who make these videos, they thumbnails. He's showing like look like players are crying or whatever, or just crazy stuff. It's always Angel Reese is at the forefront. You see Caitlin Clark, Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter. I mean, that's what's going on now, But Angel, it seems like with Angel Reese is never no good news. It's like crybaby news. It's like big crybaby news. Big crybaby news. It's like look at me. It's like she wanting. She even said it. She said it's not just about one person. Angel Reese said, "I seen the highlights. I guess it's not. It's just not. It's not all about Caitlin Clark. But it's like the way she come out. She just it's always something constant. I think the truth is she's jealous of Caitlin Clark. And that's the thing. Caitlin Clark doesn't get into all that crying stuff like Angel Reese constantly. Because Caitlin Clark, she just goes out and play straight up basketball. She just goes out to win and help her team. And win, improve, make her team better. And like when Caitlin Clark got hurt a few weeks ago, I don't know, she might be off the injury list now, but the sales and stuff went down on jerseys, you know. And so it shows you they call it the Caitlin Clark effect. Dun 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 dun. Because I don't, when Caitlin Clark came through to the WNBA, I got excited. It's like that's the most excited I remember ever being excited about the WNBA because the most news before Caitlin Clark, you were hearing stuff about Brittany Renner, that trade and stuff. Uh, Russia or whatever, she got in trouble. They got her back to the United States and stuff. Then I was seeing the stuff she was saying about Caitlin Clark. I didn't realize how deep the the jealousy or hate or whatever was for Caitlin Clark. I mean, and like they even zoomed in, they showed the camera zoomed in on showing what Brittany Renner said about Caitlin. It's like, man. But Brittany Renner got a bad attitude too. The stuff she was saying, how the WNBA was like really chill and stuff. And then when Caitlin Clark came through, like, oh, it just messed her world, they world up. Yeah, I don't know, but it just shows you it's like, wow, Caitlin is bad. She really is. I remember seeing her, Caitlin Clark, playing like that year her and LSU played for the championship. That was like back in 2020, 23. So that was 2 years ago, you know. I was really impressed with Angel Reese when I saw her at LSU and her other teammates, you know, 'cause they were going at with Caitlin Clark. And now it's like, where's that same energy? She don't do the same thing. You're just all crying and whining and stuff. Dun 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 dun. Don't talk to stranger. Yeah, the world of sports is something else. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Yep, basketball, football. So every day is basketball, WNBA, NBA, because the Pacers and the Fever are both indie teams. They both play in the same arena, and every day is it's either football or basketball. Football, basketball, basketball, football, basketball, football. I don't see nothing about hockey, no tennis or nothing. It's just football and basketball every day. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Don't talk. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Don't talk. Yep. Man, it's like the news is more flooded. So I'm excited. I can't wait for the new football season. See how Shadur's gonna do. Because every day, I think Cleveland has never seen this much attention ever. Because Cleveland, I haven't heard much about Cleveland in the last few years. They haven't been doing good. Mm-mm-mm-mm. But things didn't start picking up till Shadur came there. I bet this is the most attention Cleveland has ever had ever because of Shadur. You know. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. 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 Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, football, basketball, football, basketball, football, basketball, football, basketball. Yeah, I used to be used. I don't know if Serena still plays or not. Serena and Venus, tennis, or mm, 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 but it's like football and basketball is where it's at right now. As far as big news floods. Oh, I gotta check the score. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Don't talk. But one thing for sure is I'll never be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Mm-mm. 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 Never. 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 And as I was saying earlier, Max, Chiefs ain't going back to the Super Bowl. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Dun, 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 dun. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yep. So I'm curious to see how the Browns gonna do. Are they gonna make it to the playoffs this year? Because they got four quarterbacks: Shador Sanders, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel and Shador are the rookies. Joe Flacco's a veteran. He's won the Super Bowl. I never really heard too much Kenny Pickett. I tell you what, I think sales went up. Like Shador's jersey online. I think to get it, you can order it from the NFL shop for like $129. Shadur Sanders jersey. Shadur Sanders. Shadur NFL jersey. Oh, it's $103 at the shop. $135 at the NFL shop. For the white jersey. Wow. So it's the jerseys are finally out. Sanders. Shador Sanders. It's starting to slow down. I guess I'm gonna get off of here. So I appreciate my mom coming through. Jaden coming through. Jaden, Max Charles, and Damian coming through. So hopefully I'll be back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. The Sure Shannon Show will be live again. We'll hopefully maybe. I'm not sure if not sure. Not, I don't know for sure or not. If I do stream, I'll have my I'll put my thumbnail up for the stream for next week. All right. Sorry. I appreciate everybody coming in. Sorry. I appreciate my mom coming through again. Max Charles, Damian, and Jaden coming through. So till next time, y'all, I'm Sure Shannon. I'm out of here. See y'all next week. Hopefully. All right. Peace out. Boom, 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 boom.